These aren't the stories your mother told you. No, these are the other stories.
Slither. Written by Daniel Willcocks, narrated by Joseph Maudsley. Tell me once again how everything's going to be alright. Tell me once again how much you love me. Shout it from the rooftops and tell the world that you'll always be there and nothing will ever change. So laughable now. To be so removed from what once was such an assured thing. There was a time when you couldn't keep your hands off me. When I'd walk through the door knowing I'd have to take a deep breath because for the next minute or so, your lips would slide and smooch across my own, and our bodies would become so intertwined that I'd feel cocooned. And now there you are, and here I am, half a world away, clinging to the shadows like a love-struck possum. Running alongside the cracked brickwork path that we both tread, the river whispers and gurgles its steady rhythm. The water, usually a sapphire blue, and the sunlight looks an inky black with immeasurable depths. Spaced every 30 foot or so, there's a small circle of orange trapped on its rippling surface, reflections of the street lamps that illuminate everywhere apart from here, under the bridge in which I hide. I hear you giggle. Slight, but full. You tiptoe up to his height and plant a small kiss on his cheek. I find myself growling, the sound no louder than the splashes of water on rock. Started slowly in hindsight. So slow that I can forgive myself for thinking that it was nothing. After all, for a duty manager of a convenience store, what had I to fear? My health was in check. My routine was solid. My sexual appetite was enough to satisfy the cravings of a woman half my age. Only a few weeks ago, I'd gone for a standard appointment and been told that I was an example of perfect health. Someone that others my age would look to with envy. A body resilient to the passings and effect of age. The next day I went fishing. The day after that I saw the first sign. One black fingernail. I looked up at the sound of footsteps and melt into the darkness of the cold stone. Two teenagers walked by, their hoods raised. They're chatting loudly, laughing and pushing, daring each other into the ravine. I hold my breath and wait for them both to pass. They have zero clue how their lives could be snuffed out so easily, extinguished in seconds. There's a moment where I contemplate destroying their lives as she had mine. It would take seconds. I'd leap out, a silent assassin, and drag them both into the depths. They step into the light. The taller of the two turns for a moment and looks back under the bridge. For a moment, our eyes lock, and I smile, baring teeth. I know that you can't see me, but it's fun to pretend. Oh, come on, man, what are you stopping for? Not scared, are we? You kidding me, right? With a punch to the arm, they're gone. I exhale slowly and slither away from the wall. My naked feet pad quietly on the path. Up ahead I can see the shapes of my ex-wife and her new lover as she succumbs to her hunger. The guy, his face one that I don't recognise in the slightest, but then who am I to talk, allows her to take control. They've shuffled into the openings of an alleyway, just out of reach of the closest lamplight, and she's sliding her hand into his trousers. I slip into the water. The doctor was right, I suppose. My body was a resilient vessel. Never had a cold, I'd never suffered from headaches, the sniffles, heartburn, or anything really. I told my colleague this as we sat around Lake Gifton, watching the gentle bobs of the bait at the end of our lines. In our creel was already a host of goodies that we'd latched. Bull crap. Everyone's had something. You're saying you've never been ill? Never caught the flu or just felt crappy? Babies alone at least have 10 colds in their first years of life. Do you not count that? I laughed. I can't speak for the years before my memory, but that's what I'm saying. Clean as a whistle, 60 foot tall and made of diamond. After that, I excused myself and went for a leak. Seemed a lot like karma when I came back into the firelight and felt the stabbing pain in my gut. I can remember nothing strange about it. It was a standard piss into a thicket bush. A couple of days later, after the pain had become so severe that I couldn't leave the house without her caring arm, the doctor flashed x-rays with one slight anomaly. A small black shape of something foreign in my kidney. No idea how it got there. No idea what it was. They said it'll be okay, probably nothing, but come back next week for further scans. That was the week that everything changed. That was the last time the smiling doctor or my wife ever saw me again. When I resurfaced a couple of minutes later, my eyes are the first to poke out of the water. Lamplights above a scaly cranium. The waterline is a couple of inches below the path's edge, so I dig my toughened toes into the mossy submerged wall and hoist myself just enough to see them both. An ordinary person would no doubt pass by. They're both fairly quiet now. Aware what they're doing is risque, although I know from personal experience that it's a button that she often likes to press. But I can see it all. I'd envisioned just one of the benefits that came with the condition, although now it feels more like a curse. She is on her knees. His head is lolled back in ecstasy. By the looks of his clenched fist and throbbing heartbeat, I can tell he's close. I snarl. His eyes open for a second and spot mine. He withdraws from her mouth, pointing wildly in my direction. She turns, wipes her mouth. I'm gone. I'm already working my way through the interconnecting water tunnels of this town. Fish scurry away to avoid my path as I cut through the water like paper's edge, burning along flesh. The picture of her moist lips burn in my mind. Her words from our wedding ceremony echo in my hollow skull, in sickness and in health. Tell me once again how everything's going to be alright. Tell me once again how much you love me. Shout it from the rooftops and tell the world how you'll always be there and nothing will ever change. After tonight, my love, change will come. You will join me, and everything will be alright.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Other Stories. Slither was written by Daniel Willcocks, narrated by Joseph Maudsley, with music by Tom Robson. We've just released our first print edition of The Other Stories. It collects all of the stories from the first 3 volumes of the show, with an extra thrown in just for you. It's available from all good Amazons, and you'll find a direct link in the show notes to this episode. If you enjoyed this episode immensely, then why not go and leave us a review in the iTunes store and help spread the word, the love, and the joy. Until next time.